back again. It's Shavon Akhan of Glow On Braids and Natural Hairstyling. And this week's installment will be popsmokebraids. Now, this is the name that my daughter has told me they're called now. They used to be called just feedincornrows, but she insisted that we call them popsmokebraids. Okay, here we go. Basically, you're going to part the hair straight down the middle all the way through the back. And I'm applying Evolving Textures O-Gel to the base. And in this video, I'll be doing two techniques for this feed-in braid. And one is an overlap braid, where basically it's being fed in strand by strand, but it's going in an overlap manner. So you definitely need to be experienced in cornrows, because essentially that's what you're doing, where you're just adding in the hair piece by piece. I'm also doing a technique which is called stitch braiding, where you separate the hair into stitches. I'm not doing them extremely tight, but this is the gist of it. When you're doing those type of braids, or any braid, it definitely, to get the best look, it requires a lot of precision. And if you notice, the braid gets larger toward the end, from the middle toward the end of the braid, and that is a matter of preference. So you definitely want to pay attention to the amount of hair that you're adding, and when you want that density to end. So here for the next braid, you'll get a closer look. Taking that first piece and separating it into three and adding my first piece. And what I do is stabilize it with my finger as I do each stitch. So once I add the hair, I'm going to braid it down a couple of stitches. So after completing this braid, I'll do the other technique, which will be a invisible feed-in braid. And then I'll add another piece. So you're doing several things in this technique. You're separating the hair, you're adding in hair. It does require some practice. And again, precision. As far as your finger positioning, again, it takes practice, and you have to kind of get your own balance with that, and over time you do develop that. But for me, this is what I've found to be the easiest way to have control over the hair. It's basically by harnessing it with my left hand, while braiding it with my right. And while you're braiding it down, it's really important that you do a technique called tucking, where you are hiding the client's natural hair. Now she wanted a curly finish with her braids, so I used Freetress in order to create that. So it's kind of a tight ringlet that you'll see at the end. And because his hair is so curly, you definitely have to have a little bit more control over the hair. And make sure that the natural hair is tucked underneath. And here I'm adding more. So I start with the regular kanekalon braiding hair. And then once I get toward the middle, I'll add the Freetress hair. And this is Freetress Waterwave. And then here is where I'm doing the other technique, which is pretty much the same, adding the, sectioning it into 3 parts and then adding in the hair. But instead of adding it over top, I'm adding it in the middle. So once I do a stitch, I add the extra hair or the extension hair in the middle. I leave one side out and braid one side in. And then once I come back around to complete the stitch, I add the hair in. So you add it from the middle, leave one side out, stitch, add the hair back in. So both techniques are good techniques, but there is just a matter of preference. And, you know, as far as what you're able to do and what the client prefers. So you can see how the hair was braided from the top to the very back, one straight part. And again, precision with this particular style is essential. And there you have it. Feedin cornrows, or as my daughter insists, popsmokebraids. Thanks for watching.